Hello fellow book nerds and welcome to another monthly wrap-up video. This time I'm actually taking a very serious topic. I'm going to be talking about politics, independence, war and books set in history. These are all historical fiction books because for some reason, I don't know, in the month of May, that too it's my birthday month. For some reason, I was given a lot of thought-provoking books about history and diaspora and independence and stories set in fictional lands but based on true life incidents. I don't know why there was this trend for me this May. Most of the books I got gifted for my birthday as well were related to that. Maybe a lot of my friends noticed, hey, you read so many thrillers, why don't you read something meaningful? I'm not saying thrillers are not meaningful, just saying. Okay, so here is the highlight about all of these books. I happened to receive a Kindle for my birthday, so therefore all of these books were read on my Kindle. So I'm really sorry, but this time this zone is going to be my best friend where I'm going to recommend all the books to you. So without further ado, let's just get started. The very first book I read was, of course, The Tattooist of Auschwitz. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Auschwitz. It's a very thought-provoking book because it talks about concentration camps. That itself makes me really sad. One of the main reasons why Anne Frank really hurt my soul is because of the kind of agonies that go on in concentration camps, and this book is no less. It is a historical fiction book set in the concentration camps during I don't know, it was I don't know how to describe these moments, but basically just sticking to the basic story, it's about two people in these concentration camps who are a Jewish woman as well as a prisoner from the concentration camp, and they both kind of get this love story together. I don't know how to say this without spoiling too much because at the heart of the story it's a love story, so that much I can reveal to you. But it's about this concentration camp prisoner and this Jewish woman, and they fall in love during the Holocaust time, and it's really beautiful. It's very gory, it has a lot of details, it will leave you crying, but this book has my whole heart. The second book is a book I reread actually, which is The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzat. The reason I love this book, it was actually the very first novel I read in my life. So it was really nice to get a physical copy of it on my birthday, which I don't know where I kept it right now. But The Book Thief is one of my favorites because it talks about this girl named Liesel, I guess. And she is stuck in Nazi Germany and there's just destruction happening all around her. They are not even allowed to breathe freely. And to get over this and distract her mind, she starts stealing books. One was a book thief and the other stole the sun. This guy? Oh my god, I don't remember. But those who remember this, we can be friends, honestly. She starts stealing books and the love affair she develops with books and this boy also who is next door. It has my heart. And guys, those of you who have read this book will know what I'm saying. But this guy who they keep in their basement, I'm not going to reveal any spoilers, but that had my whole heart. But it was really nice that during the World War, she is able to find solace using these books. That was really comforting for me to know that. Next up, I read All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr, which follows two different perspectives. One is a guy and the other is a girl. I forgot the name of the girl again, but basically it's a very heartfelt story because that girl is actually blind and she is living in Nazi Germany, and her father has kind of created an entire miniature replica of Germany so that she can literally feel it with her hands and feel her way around the whole place. So she can literally touch the whole model and she knows like, okay, I have to go straight here 6 steps and then I need to turn right and I need to go here and everything. And then there's this whole bombing and all the horrors begin, and she loses her father as well and she's all alone. She's a blind girl. She has that replica with her, so it's almost like she knows exactly how to navigate the road around her. But how? I mean, this had me in tears when her father, like, I don't know, man. I don't want to reveal any spoilers here, but this one had my heart. Honestly, it had my entire heart, and I'm sure it will have yours as well. Next up, I read Remnants of a Separation by Anshul Malhotra, which is actually a book I was really grateful for. Thank you so much to the friend who gifted it to me. I loved Remnants of a Separation. It's actually a non-fiction book, and did I tell you The Tattooist of Auschwitz is actually based on true life events? If I didn't mention that, then hey, here you go. But Remnants of a Separation by Anshul Malhotra was really interesting for me because Anshul Malhotra has interviewed about 10 to 15 people who were present during the Indian independence partition time. And she has spoken to people asking them, like when they were moving from India to Pakistan and the other way around, when the whole partition was happening and Bengal was being formed and everything, what were some things that you took with you? What are some objects that you decided to take with you? Imagine you have to clear out your entire... I would literally not leave home. I would literally just stay home. Imagine having to take 1500 plus books. Guys, where would I go? So, I don't know. I don't know what I would do in that situation. But if I'm able to take only a few limited objects with me, why did I choose those objects? And they are now almost half a century old. And what memories can I draw of the partition by looking at those objects? So these are some of the beautiful topics covered in it, and I really liked it. Recollecting the partition through objects. That's your one-line elevator pitch for it, and hey, there you go. Next up, I read Finding Graham by Rana Birsen. The reason I love this book was it talks about this mysterious Datta family and how they have a missing son, and they have been looking for the son all their lives, and now they suddenly come to know that there's a grandson who is Graham. I'm not going to reveal anything else, but then the whole family literally gets so dedicated to find Graham. That's why the title of the book also is Finding Graham. Whoa! So it's amazing, especially at the end of the book when they do find Graham. This is not a spoiler, but when the family gets reunited, the whole journey for how they reunited and everything, it's so beautiful. And when they finally find Graham, guys, May was a month of tears. There was no rain, but there were tears every single day. Next up, I read A Burning. And A Burning, I don't know how to describe this without giving away too much. Basically, it's about this girl who, it talks about social media, okay? And what if you were to post a tweet on social media, which was a bit controversial, and because of that, you get framed, and it's something so controversial, you get arrested because of it. That's literally what happens in the story, where this girl, unwittingly, when she's just traveling home by train, she just happens to send a tweet, and she gets branded as a terrorist. I don't know how to reveal this without revealing too much. So there, that's your elevator pitch right there. It is crazy. It will have you thinking. It will have you rooting for this main character. And as the story develops, you will know exactly where the story is going, and you will try everything in your power to make it stop, but it won't, and you will cry and cry and cry at the end, because that's what I did. Okay, so moving right on, the next book I read was also by Rana Birsen, which is Tears of My Motherland. Tears of My Motherland again, but Tears of the Meenakshi, because I was crying so much. So it's talking about August of 1945, which is a very iconic moment for all of us, as we know. There was a Japanese onslaught on Vietnam at that time. I'm not going to get too much into the history part of this, but basically Subhash Chandra Bose just had his sudden death happen, and people are trying to recover from that. And at the same time, I'm not going to give too much away, but basically it's like how people cope with independence in different ways, and I just don't know how to narrate this, but it's like, it's about diaspora, it's about becoming a stranger in your own country, it's about losing your sense of identity when your sense of identity was the homeland you lived in. And Tears of My Motherland just, it spoke volumes to me. It made me more empathetic, and it made me see independence and the way we perceive independence from a completely new light. Because especially when they just went to a museum at one point of the book, and they were just pointing around at a bunch of objects, and they were just talking about what significance it holds. I don't know, it's just, even with Remnants of a Separation, as I said, the fact that an object can have so much pain or happiness associated with it and can bring about so many memories for you, that makes it, that's really something so beautiful that I just can't believe, guys. That's honestly, it fills my heart with joy. At the same time, it rips me apart. Anyways, that's your elevator pitch for Tears of My Motherland. Do check it out. Next up, I read The Boy in the Striped Pajamas by John Boyne, I guess. I really love this book because it talks about the friendship between this little boy and this boy in the striped pajamas, who, if you know, you know. When I read the book, I didn't know what it was, why is he wearing striped pajamas, what's going on, but then I just lack intellect. So then when I spoke to some friends, I understood the meaning. People who have read this book will know what I'm saying when I say that final scene ripped me. That final page of the book had me in tears. But again, it talks about war and the peace after war, and what if a rich guy and a prisoner, not exactly prisoner, but one among these prisoners, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and openly say this, okay, there was these gas chambers, which is possibly the most horrific torture technique ever created, where you just take hundreds of people, put them in a gas chamber, put this poisonous gas, and they slowly suffocate and asphyxiate. And my god, guys, I don't know how people can write stories covering such topics that are so powerful. It is honestly so powerful for me when I read these books, because that scene had me so sad. And it talks about friendship, and it talks about family, it talks about separation, it talks about how far you'll be willing to go for a friend. And the friendship between those two boys was just, oh my god, if I talk about this even more, I'm just going to start crying. So let's just talk about a more light-hearted but by no means fun and cheerful book. It was not cheerful by any means, but it was a lot less heavy than this, and that is Chapter 31 by Ashok Bhasin. I really love this book because it spoke about the drugs and mafia and narcotics bureau. That was new, but also stepping a bit within the same history and war kind of situation. So this is about a guy named Rahul Mehra who happens to pick up a book one day, and when he is reading the book, he goes to the final chapter, which is chapter 31, and he realizes that it's disconnected from the rest of the story. And when he does a bit more research and he reads a bit more in depth into it, he realizes that one of the characters in that story is him. And there was some episode in his life earlier which only he and two other people know about, which is something he's not very proud about, which kind of shaped history. And the final chapter of this book talks about that. So what could this be? How did somebody know about it? And what are they coming to say now? Are they trying to expose him? Are they trying to make history repeat itself and solve it? And it talks about the publishing industry, it talks about the narcotics bureau, it talks about politics and the US elections and a lot of in-depth stuff. And while researching a bit about the author, I came to know that Ashok Bhasin is also a lawyer. He is also from a courtroom background. And that's why I feel a lot of this book is not fiction. It is fact conveyed in the form of fiction, which makes it so powerful. So, really love that one. And guys, we have been talking for a long time. I think I must have given you at least 10 recommendations till now, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you guys also read these books and understand the depth of their words and learn a bit more about history through these really powerful stories that are connected. I really hope there are more stories like this and I get the chance to read more like these in my life, apart from of course fast-paced thrillers. And I really hope you enjoyed this episode, and stay tuned for the next one. Thanks for watching.